Hello everyone and welcome to the channel and welcome to another video. We've got a lot of explosive news to cover, a lot of stuff happening, and I'm glad you're here for it. Hospitals and medical services in Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Texas, Rhode Island, and California have been closed because they're getting hacked. Leah Thomas banned from competing against women as swimming cracks down on transgender athletes. Pfizer employees were given a special batch, a different dose of COVID vaccine than to the general population. And last but not least, Andrew Tate has been released from house arrest while awaiting human trafficking. And well, that's a bit suspect trial. You know what I'm saying? Strap in, we got a good video today. First on the docket, let's talk about how Pfizer employees didn't get the regular dose of COVID vaccine. Rather, they got a special batch for Pfizer employees. Wow, you know, me sitting here with all this crazy stuff happening and everyone else is losing their minds. Hey, I think I told you all this stuff was happening 3 years ago and I was told I was an idiot. But you know what? I don't miss.
Read that your vaccine mandate was using your own batch of vaccine especially imported for Pfizer, which was not tested by the TGA. Is that correct?
Senator, so Pfizer undertook to import a batch of vaccine specifically for the employee vaccination program.
So that's correct. You heard them correct. They had a special batch that was for Pfizer employees. Probably saline solution if I was guessing. A very important pressing matter happening right now. A major cyber attack is disrupting hospitals in multiple states in America. Hospitals and medical services in Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Texas, Rhode Island, California have been forced to close. Well, this is serious. Closed emergency rooms and ambulances have been diverted. Many primary care services remain closed as security experts work to determine the extent of the problem and resolve it. So quite a serious matter occurring right now. Hospitals are being shut down due to some kind of attack, cyber attack. Many have pointed out a finger at China, who's responsible for multiple cyber attacks against the U.S. over the past few months. I have a question. I live in a place where there's a huge demographic of Chinese who are immigrating on a regular basis. And I have a funny question about this. How are we supposed to pretend like everyone gets along, we're all friends, and immigration is good for these Western countries when the people who are immigrating in these countries are actually enemies of our state, are enemies of our country? That makes no sense. You have China and other countries launching weather balloons across the sky. You have them cyber attacking. You have them trying to mess with our nuclear systems. And yet you're like, oh yeah, allow their people in. That makes no sense. That's like during World War II allowing immigration from Germany into England, right? I mean, I know we're not at war, but we are at war. It's just a different kind of war nowadays. It's not done with bullets. It's done with clicky clacks of keyboards and ones and zeros of binary code, right? It's very strange. It is feared that Chinese hackers, presumably working for the People's Liberation Army, inserted code designed to be triggered if China invades Taiwan and the U.S. decides to join the war. The true scale of the impact from the malware is not yet understood, as officials claim its impact could be far broader because that same infrastructure often supplies the house and businesses of ordinary Americans. The Biden administration, which is completely useless and run by a senile old man who thinks ice cream is fantastic and that's how you make yourself more relatable to the public. Oh, sorry, that was in there. I just added that. Is working relentlessly to defend the United States from any disruptions to our critical infrastructure, included by coordinated integrated efforts to protect water systems, pipelines, rails, and yeah, dude, it's hosed. It's hosed, man. They have attacked. Diversity is not our strength. Leah Thomas banned as FINA votes to restrict transgender women from competitions. Budapest, Hungary. World Swimming's governing body has effectively banned transgender women from competing in women's events starting Monday. Bam, that's quick. FIDA members widely adopted a new gender inclusion policy on Sunday to only permit swimmers who transition before age of 12 to compete in women's events. The organization also proposed an open competition category. This is not saying that people are encouraged to transition by the age of 12. It's what scientists are saying, that if you transition after the start of puberty, geez, how long has people been saying this? Common sense. It doesn't matter what steroids or hormones or whatever estrogen you take after the fact, but if you go through puberty as a man and then try to transition back, you have a different bone structure, musculoskeletal, all that stupid scientific, super amazing stuff. What do I know? I'm a dude wearing sunglasses and a mask inside. You know what? I wouldn't take my advice very far, but listen, these people's advice I'd take even less further until they're actually starting to think a little clearer, which seems to be happening. You have an advantage, which is unfair. Rather, if you start after puberty. James Pierce, who is the spokesperson for FINA President Hussein Al-Masalam, there might be why too, told the Associated Press. They're not saying everyone should transition by age 11. That's ridiculous. You can't transition by that age in most countries anyways, and hopefully you wouldn't be encouraged to. Well, I mean, unless you're living in a liberal state in America where they are trying to encourage that, and they're insane. Like, I don't understand that as well. How are you going to transition kids when they can't even make a decision to buy alcohol or smoke or drink, and they can't even drive a car? But you're like, yeah, no, you can decide gender. Craziness in the West right now. Basically, what they're saying is that it's not feasible for people who have transitioned to compete without having an advantage. Geez, you would think that would be common sense when you see people who are transgendered athletes who have been running around and running circles around people and riding bicycles by them like as if they're standing still, and like this chick right here, this guy, this girl, this person running, swimming in circles, laps, finishing 40 different yards ahead of them. It's ridiculous. FINA's new 24-page policy has proposed a new open competition category. You know what? You're not going to be able to find anybody to compete or anyone wants to watch that because, being transgender, as much as it's trying to be normalized and how much it is actually starting to leak, it'd be like, the zeitgeist starts to leak into kids because they're extremely malleable. So when you start to push this onto people, and little kids like to have positive reinforcement, and when you have parents who are like, oh yeah, my kid is so, we're so woke, my kid's transitioning, and the kid gets all this positive reinforcement, it's going to force more people to do it. And if you have seen the stats of how many people now are, I guess, identifying as some kind of LGBTQ number, it goes like, it just drives up like a freaking roller coaster in the opposite direction. And it's because people are being pushed this in their brain. It's not actually really happening organically. It's happening because of the giant push in culture in the West, in America and Canada and other stupid countries that don't need to realize what's going on and you get liberals out of there. Anyways, good enough. Thank God some people have come to their senses. That is a fantastic news. Now, last but definitely not least, and Willie Mack is going to have a conniption fit over this, Andrew Tate released from house arrest, baby. That's right. That is great news. The top G, he keeps saying he's innocent. If he was that guilty, he would still be under house arrest because the evidence they have against him is circumstantial, is what the judge has ruled. Andrew Tate, the divisive internet influencer who was charged in Romania with gape, human trafficking, and forming a criminal gang to sexually women, won an appeal on Friday to be released from house arrest, his spokesperson said. But Tate won't be able to leave the country. Yeah, no doubt. Won't be able to. That guy might be on a first-class ticket all the way to Dubai and getting the hell out of there. But no, he won't. You know why? Because he's innocent, and Willie Mack, pound stand, nothing but a liberal hater. You can tell he's got a neck beard. He looks skinny, anemic, unhealthy, and you know that guy thinks Biden's an amazing president, and he's just trying to bring Andrew Tate down. He's a top G who's jack, buff, alpha, with a great freaking bald head, and being bald is sexy, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, look at the top G. He looks amazing. I have an actual video here of the real interview of top G coming out, speaking his words. Roll it right now.
In January, when I was thrown into a jail cell, the media reported and told the world that I was a terrible person. They said that I hurt people and I make a lot of money from criminal enterprise, and here we stand 7 or 8 months later and I've not seen a single victim on the news. I don't know if you have. I've seen lots of girls sticking up for me, lots of people defending me. I've not seen a single person stand up and say that I have hurt them. Not one. It's very exhausting to continue to perpetuate lies. It's very hard to keep lies afloat when you have no actual evidence. We've been completely innocent since the beginning of this, and I have to give absolute faith to the Romanian judicial system for finally making the right decision and letting us free. I'm sure in the end we'll be absolutely exonerated, and everybody who was pushing these lies and
Willie Mack
things on repeat without any substantial evidence are going to have to analyze within themselves why they decide to try and destroy people's lives purely for views. I've done nothing wrong. God knows I've done nothing wrong. In my heart, I know I've done nothing wrong. I think the people at home who with a functioning brain understand we've done nothing wrong, because nobody has yet to identify a single victim which is saying that we've done anything to them since the beginning of this entire process. Once again, absolute respect to the judge, respect to Romania, respect to the Romanian judicial system. I look forward to being completely exonerated in due time. Thank you.
There it is, the top G laying down the gauntlet. It is true. I have seen some, clips and things he said, but who knows? He might just be talking out his ass because he's just trying to be all cool and stuff and trying to talk about that pimp game and all that and just trying to fire it up. But I mean, like saying something and actually having proof. Like I said, that's why it's called circumstantial evidence. We need proof. We need actual people. We need actual victims. You can't have a murder if there's no body. You know what I'm saying? You can have a missing persons, and you can't have a bunch of allegations for all this stuff happening if you don't actually have people and victims. And we have yet to see any real victims come forth, and that's why it's circumstantial. So this does not bode well for those who are Andrew Tate haters, Willie Mack, and all you liberal little beta male soy boy, 120-pound weakling, little noodle-armed, no woman having, no Bugatti driving, no alpha male bald head going nerds. You know what I'm saying? Woo! All right, I'm the Ghost of Eight. I hope you had a great time. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, make sure to subscribe. If you don't subscribe, you're making a horrible life decision, just like you would be if you didn't believe Andrew Tate was innocent. And really, last but not least, and the really biggest message I want to send home to you is make sure to brush and floss regularly, help promote healthy oral hygiene, look both ways across the street, help prevent forest fires, and really last but not least, stay black. Question authority, and don't let the reptilian shapeshifters bring you down.